Shawn Lynch. I'm joined by Shawn Jansen. This is the playoff version of the Shawn and Shawn Show. What do we got? About 8 teams competing here in the first round of the playoffs. We already had Merced girls with a victory.
Our teams are 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. Some tough matchups ahead, particularly on the girls' side. But what do you think of some of the chances, at least for a couple teams, making some runs here?
I think if you're looking at the girls, I think the Buac girls got to be the happiest with their draw, getting the 11th seed in Division II. I think they got the best chance to go on the road and get a win. Of course, Merced got the win. They had the out-bracket game as the 16. They beat Rodriguez 67-57 last week. Good performance. Nice for them to get a win, but the reward is going to play St. Mary's, and that's going to be a rough one. And Outwater's got a rough one. They got to go to McNair. But I think if you look at the boys' side, Merced and Golden Valley sitting there, Merced at 6 and Golden Valley at 7. They got a chance to win a game and then possibly go on the road and pull an upset.
Yeah, pretty nice for them to both get home games. Golden Valley loses that coin toss. We didn't know where they'd fall necessarily, just one spot behind Merced. Kind of a little appreciation for the CCC for once, I guess.
Yeah, it was a big coin toss to win for Merced. If they don't win that coin toss, I think you're looking at Merced sitting at like 13-14 and having to go on the road. They win the coin toss, they get seeded 6, they get a home game. Golden Valley, they didn't want to bump them too far down. They get the 7 seed, so that's good for them. They get a home game. And what I like, both of them are on the other side of the bracket as the number 1 seed, Jesuit. Jesuit's the clear-cut favorite in Division I. To be on that other side, it gives them a shot at maybe making a run in the playoffs.
And possible semifinal showdown between the two of them, too.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun to go to Sleep Train Arena and see Merced and Golden Valley for a 3rd time this year.
All right, we're going to break down all the brackets for you, but before that, here's some sights and sounds.
Good, help me.
All right, let's start with the girls' bracket. Let's talk a little bit about that Merced victory. Great start for them in that game against Rodriguez. Really got off to a big lead, and they kind of needed it at the end.
Yeah, things got a little close as Rodriguez made a late run, but Merced really played well. Big game for Delana Jones. I think she had 15 or 16 points and 24 rebounds. Really, a lot of those rebounds came on missed free throws because Rodriguez just couldn't hit anything. They were 12 of 33 from the line. Merced really took advantage of that. They had 4 players in double figures. Alicia Bowers comes up big in the 4th quarter, hits some big baskets that really proved to be the difference late in the game.
What I like about Merced is they got 4 different kids going offensively now, which obviously they're going to need that kind of balance if they're hoping to make any kind of run here against St. Mary's. Bowers especially really stepped up the last few games down the stretch. She had a big span in that Golden Valley game too to close the regular season. She's pretty raw. She hasn't played basketball much, and she's just kind of now getting into it and realizing how good she could be. But I was talking to Coach Pierce, and he said that they've challenged her. They're giving you open looks. You got to shoot, and she's starting to knock them down, having the confidence.
Yeah, you're on a team where most of the focus is going to be on Jones or Lexi Thompson. So defenders are going to sag against Alexis Pierce and Alicia Bowers. And Simone Gilliam's come on and scored lately, too, as a sophomore. I really like Merced's nucleus with Lexi Thompson, Simone Gilliam, Alexis Pierce. They're going to have some good guards going for these next couple of years.
And they're going to need them because they're going to have not Jones in the middle. tough matchup, obviously, with St. Mary's. Any chance of them being successful here?
Not as far as pulling off a win. I mean,
Right.
St. Mary's has won 6 straight section titles. Year in and year out, they're nationally ranked. They just run this full court pressure for the whole game. So Merced's going to be in trouble from the get-go. But they know that going in. They know what they're facing. They saw them in the Clovis West tournament. But it's a good season for them. They win a league title. They make the playoffs. They get a playoff win. And now they're going to go face one of the best teams in the section.
No, and with a lot of these kids coming back, this will be a really good playoff experience for them. Got to clean things up, though. I mean, like you said, it's all about the St. Mary's press, and that's where things started to get tight against Rodriguez. They started turning the ball over there late.
Yeah, and the thing about playing St. Mary's is they're not going to back off. They're not going to call off the press. They're going to go all out for 32 minutes. So they want to score 100 points.
Yeah, kind of like going up against Fresno City.
Let's move on to Division II. Our 2 teams there, we got Atwater against McNair and Buhack Colony against Bear Creek. McNair, another one of the better teams in the section. Atwater is going to have a tough task going up there to Stockton.
Yeah, I think they scored 90-something against Merced earlier in the season. Yeah, just the section power and I guess the one positive for Atwater here is they got where they wanted to be. I mean, third place was probably not what they were seeking, but they got back in the playoffs. They have a senior group that is getting some good experience, and they got nothing to lose. So they're gonna kind of let it all go here.
Yeah, I think it's the first time in 5 years that the Falcons have made the playoffs. What I like about this Atwater team is they're just gritty. They just get after it. They dive on the floor. They play tough. They're not afraid to mix it up in the paint. And, they're going to go in. They're not going to be intimidated by McNair. They'll go in. I just think they're facing that team that just has too much talent here.
Yeah. On Buhack Colony's side, you kind of like their chances of possibly pulling off a victory against Bear Creek.
Yeah, they're facing a good Bear Creek team that has 22, 23 wins, something like that. They put up a good record. But I think Buhack Colony can do some things against Bear Creek. They can attack their guards, put pressure on them, but possibly force some turnovers. I expect Buhack to be in this game and maybe have a shot late in the fourth quarter to pull it out.
I guess from a confidence standpoint, how big is beating Atwater in the last game of the regular season to head into the playoffs for them?
It was big, coming off the Merced loss. That was a tough loss. Talking to Shane Gentry, he kind of said, we're going into this. If we can win a playoff game, that kind of takes the sting away from not winning a league title. It gives this team a sense of accomplishment. Buhack Colony's never won a playoff game, so here's another opportunity here to accomplish something that the school's never done. So that would give the girls something to kind of hang their hat on at the end of the season.
All right, let's go to Division 4. We got Hillmar taking on Bradshaw Christian and Los Banos at Bret Hart. Tough matchups all the way around.
Yeah, Bret Hart, they won the MLL, the Mother Lode League. Tough team, Los Banos. I just don't know if they're going to be able to generate enough offense up there to compete with Bret Hart. It's a long trip to make that trip from Los Banos up to the foothills, the mountains, so that's going to be tough. Hillmar, another long drive to Sacramento to face Bradshaw Christian. And just tough matchups there. Hard to see one of our teams pulling one of those out.
All right. And lastly, D5, you got Gustine hosting Big Valley Christian. Gonna be honest, don't know a lot about Gustine.
I like Gustine there in that matchup, but then they win that, they go on and face a good Capital Christian team that's the number 2 seed. But for Gustine to get a playoff win, that'd be nice for the Redskins.
Yeah, I saw him a couple of years ago, I think in the Chowchilla tournament. It's been a team that's slowly been moving towards this. So for them to get in the playoffs and get a home game, that's pretty big stuff.
Dos Palos girls, they got into the Central Section playoffs. Big win over Mendota on Friday night that earned them a share of the West Area League title. Kayla Halls really played well for them. She came up with 17 points, chipped in with like 7 rebounds and 5 or 6 steals. Big win for them because Mendota beat them pretty handily at Dos Palos earlier in the year.
Yeah, and I think they led by double digits in that game and then fell apart in the second half. So to go on the road and earn themselves a share of the section or the conference title, big deal for them. They get a home game. That's going to be good news. Yeah, it's a team that's played good, solid, consistent basketball all year, so you got to like their chances and getting at least one win here.
Yeah, if they can get a win, then they'll find themselves up against the number 1 seed, Lindsay. But Dos Palos is going to start their playoffs on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock at Dos Palos. Let's move over to the boys. We can talk a little bit more about Merced and Golden Valley. Merced gets the number 6 seed after we talked about the coin toss. They're going to face a Pleasant Grove team, defending Division I state champions. Kind of interesting in the CCC, for the CCC teams, the 3 teams from the league are all facing Delta River League teams. Delta River League, for those that don't know, probably the strongest league in the section. You look at Sheldon's won 4 straight D1 titles. Last year they played Pleasant Grove for the section title. Sheldon won that one, then went to the open division. Pleasant Grove went into D1 and won the D1 state title. So we got a defending state champion coming into Merced on Friday night.
Yeah, Hector Nava kind of had an inkling about this, though. Him and Keith Hunter made the trip up to Elk Grove. They watched them take on Jesuit, and at least they got a feel for them coming into this.
Yeah, and coming out of that, they felt they could play with both teams. Pleasant Grove against Jesuit really slowed it down, really tried to get it into their 6'9" player, Marquise Chris, who's averaging about 19 points a game and 12 rebounds. That's going to be really Merced's focus, is keeping him off the boards. Merced doesn't have a guy that with that kind of height, so that's going to be tough. But Merced's got a shot here. I mean, Pleasant Grove lost a lot from that state championship team. This isn't a team that's going to win a state championship this year. They're only 13-13, 4-6, I believe, in the Delta River League. So a chance for Merced to get a win and possibly move on to face likely the number 3 seed, Franklin.
How much does playing against a guy like Josh Sykes during the regular season really help them out in this scenario? I mean, obviously he's not the focal point of the Golden Valley offense, but still, he way outsizes anybody else that Merced has.
Yeah, I mean, when you play Golden Valley, you got Josh Sykes there protecting the rim, and that's tough for it. But Merced did a good job of going straight at Sykes, and if you can get into his chest, you're going to take away some of his reach. And I think that's what Merced's got to do. And they got to knock down some outside shots.
I like the fact that they got 4 or 5 guys going right now. I mean, it's a confident team. You got Chirez shooting the ball well from the outside. Mm-hmm. You got Gilliam and Stewart slashing. You got a combination of the two with Travante. It's a team that's playing with a lot of confidence, and they're getting good quality minutes from their bench guys. I think somebody was telling me that Mitchell Meyer really gave them some good minutes against Sykes in the second Golden Valley matchup.
Mm-hmm. What I like about Travante Richard, he's not just looking to score, he's looking to distribute. He was really hitting their boards hard against Golden Valley. He finished with double figures in rebounds. If I had a vote for MVP in the CCC, I would give co-MVP to Travante and Evan Stallon of Golden Valley. I just think those 2 guys were the 2 best league guys on teams that won a title. I mean, you could put Kenny Frazier right up there with them, but with Turlock finishing 3rd, I'd give the nod to those 2. But like you said, Merced's got 4 guys that can score. They got 3 or 4 guys that can put up 20 points in a game if they have to. So I like the versatility on offense. I like the way they get after it on defense, and they play really good at home. They haven't lost a game at Clemens Court this year.
I like that they seem to have figured out their identity too. They're looking to push the ball every chance they get. If they get a good clean rebound, they're going to outlet quickly, and they're getting good points in. You're seeing them put up way more points than they did at the beginning of the season. That's a big part of it. That and the fact that they've really bought into the fact that they're a defensive team, and they're letting that lead to their offense.
They're playing their best basketball at this time of the year that you want to be playing your best basketball going into the playoffs. That's why they won their last 5 games to tie for a CCC title.
All right, let's talk about Golden Valley. How did they bounce back from that loss to Merced and get out of the first round here against an Oak Ridge team they saw last year?
Yeah, they met in the first round last year. Golden Valley won by 1 point. I think it was 51-50. I think Golden Valley's had enough time to bounce back. That game was back Tuesday. You're playing a week later. I actually was out doing a story on a Golden Valley wrestler. Stopped by Golden Valley's practice today. They seem loose and ready to go. It's going to be a different Oak Ridge team in that they have a new coach this year. And talking to Coach Hunter, last year Oak Ridge played a lot of zone against Golden Valley. Mm-hmm. And that's tough to do against Golden Valley because you really have to extend your guards to go out and guard Carroll and Stallon on the perimeter. But I think this Oak Ridge team is going to play more man-to-man, and that I think Golden Valley's good against a man-to-man too.
I feel like Josh Sykes staying on the court is the key to Golden Valley's success moving forward here. I mean, it showed down the stretch. If you can get him in foul trouble, Golden Valley's a completely different team, especially defensively. I mean, he doesn't even need to block shots. He just alters enough shots. If you drive to the basket, that it's going to affect you greatly. And he's become a steady part of the offensive flow. And he's their size. I mean, they don't have much. I mean, I think Lee McNeil's probably the next biggest kid they got.
Yeah, I mean, they rely on Sykes for so much, for his defense, his rebounding, his ability to score on the point, and they can run their offense through him when they put him out in the high post. They can cut off him, and he's a good passer as well. He's their guy that protects the rim. It's hard to guard against Golden Valley knowing that Sykes is looming out there, because he doesn't have to be guarding the guy that's going to the basket to get the blocked shots because of his wingspan. So he's got like a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge for him to understand you don't have to block every single shot. When you're as long as he is, just putting your arms straight up in the air, you're going to alter plenty of them. So you just got to pick and choose your moments. Stay on the court.
Yeah, I think this Oak Ridge matchup, I think Golden Valley matches up well with them. Oak Ridge has got a couple guys who are 6 foot, 6'7", so they got some height. But I think Golden Valley struggles when they face an athletic team like Merced. I think when they have athletic guards, I think that can give Christian Carroll and Evan Stallone some problems. And Golden Valley may face that if they get by here and place Rodriguez in the second round. But I think against Oak Ridge, they're going to be able to get free, get open for shots, move the ball inside. I don't think they're going to have problems offensively. You look at Oak Ridge, they lost 2 games to Del Campo early in the season. They got blown out once. Golden Valley beat Del Campo in the Nevada Union tournament. So you look at kind of matchups against comparable opponents. I think Golden Valley's got a good chance to get that win.
Yeah, they're another team that plays pretty darn well at home, too. It's a long drive from Oak Ridge.
And moving on to Division 4, our only other team, Mariposa. Not really rewarded for winning the Southern League title. They go undefeated in the Southern League, but still only get the 11th seed, and will travel to Lathrop, the 6th seed, on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh. I mean, I know the Southern League has not done well in the playoffs in recent memory, and that was a big knock against them. Even some of the Mariposa teams that have had some pretty dominant post players have had their troubles in the early rounds. But still, an 11 seed after going undefeated in conference is pretty harsh. Yeah,
but talking after the Merced game, after Golden Valley lost to them, I kind of asked, hey, what, big blow to your playoff seed or whatever, and Coach Hunter just turned and was like, it doesn't matter. It's like in the playoffs, you have to face good teams. It doesn't matter where you're going to play them. You're going to have to beat teams to go on in the playoffs, or you're going to go home. Well, that's the attitude Mariposa's got to take here. They got to go to Lathrop. Lathrop knocked off Sierra late in the season. It's going to be a tough task there, but if Mariposa wants to advance, they got to put all that aside, use that feeling of being slighted to their advantage, and go in there with a chip on your shoulder and pull off the win.
And to get by them, they probably got another very good Riverbank team looming in the second round.
Yeah, for no doubt, it's not going to be an easy road for Mariposa, but it is what it is. You got to go and deal with it.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Hopefully we're around to do a show next week.
That's all up to our teams.